have it. And I'm recording so it'll be forever documented for our records.
Thank you.
Okay. And Sonia, I saw you had people with you. If you want to write who's with you.
Got it.
Okay, okay, got it. You got it. Okay, perfect.
Can y'all see this?
Yeah.
Cool. Give it another minute and then we'll go ahead and get started just because we have a lot to go through. And then if there's anybody else that jumps in, it's being recorded, so that's good.
Oh, shoot. I thought your lesson was AI. So he doesn't change. He's like, wow, it's great.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started if everyone's ready. This is the Double Up training for market managers. And so just wanted to start off by introducing myself. My name is Kat Gallier. I'm the Senior Program Specialist for the Double Up program. You all have introduced yourself in the chat, but Leah is also on the Double Up team if you want to introduce yourself really quickly, Leah. Oh, I think I can't hear you. Maybe that's a me problem, but
I can't hear either.
Hey. Can you guys hear me now?
yes.
Yeah. Okay, that was okay. Weird because it said my audio was on. But yes, hi, nice to meet everyone. My name is Leah and I joined HFO about 2 weeks ago. I'll be working on the Double Up team as well, focusing more on retailers and grocery stores, but love everything you all are doing with the farmers markets. I'm from OKC and just recently moved back after years of working in the food space and farmers market space in Austin. So, yeah, so excited for this training and just to learn some more.
Thanks, Leah. Does the ONI team want to introduce themselves quickly?
Yes. Hi, I'm Meredith Scott. I'm the director of the ONI project. I will pass it on to Deanna.
Hi everyone, I'm the outreach coordinator at the ONI project. My name's Diana, and I will be seeing a lot of you this summer at your site visits. Catherine and Sierra, if you want to introduce yourselves.
Oh yeah, sure. Hello everyone. My name is Catherine. I'm a new member of the ONI team. I'm a conservation planner and outreach coordinator. Nice to meet everyone.
I'm Sierra. I am also brand new to the ONI team, and I am also a conservation planner and outreach coordinator. I'll be servicing, or rather serving the northeast portion of the state, but obviously wherever they need us to go as well.
Great. Thank you, everyone. All right, so we're just starting by some background about the Oklahoma landscape. As we all probably know, Oklahoma ranks poorly in terms of food security and health. 1 in 6 people identify as food insecure, and 1 in 4 children do as well. 81% of SNAP customers report that they don't purchase healthy food because it's too expensive. And at the bottom here, you can see the chronic health conditions and where Oklahoma ranks in those. So this is a little bit of background about why the work that this program does is important in our state. And Hunger Free Oklahoma is the organization that manages Double Up. Hunger Free takes a collaborative approach in these categories listed here: advocacy, policy, research, and practice, to ensure that Oklahomans have enough food every day. Double Up Oklahoma is a nutrition incentive program, and what that means is that these programs, which are run in several different states, address barriers to produce consumption by increasing SNAP users' purchasing power for those healthy food options. A lot of those programs are funded federally by the USDA, and then they each have some private funding as well for the matching program. And so Double Up Oklahoma, like I said, is a program of Hunger Free Oklahoma. The way our program works is that it matches the value of SNAP benefits dollar for dollar at participating farmers markets and grocery stores up to $20 a day. And that incentive, the $20 a day match, can be spent on fruits and vegetables. And we'll get into more of that here in a little bit. So like I said, Double Up is funded by multiple different funders, by the USDA with a GusNIP grant. And this grant is a matching grant. So we also have funders from the state of Oklahoma and some private funders as well, some Tulsa area private funders. And so those are the ones that support the work that Double Up does. Here's a map found on our website of participating markets. This is up to date with all of our new farmers markets that are coming on board. And so you can see we have 38 grocery stores, 29 farmers markets, and then up here, it's hidden, but up here in the Tulsa area, we have a mobile market that has 7 different stops. Each of the sites is listed on our website too, with more information about dates and times. And so, like I said, all the markets should be up to date on the website. So if you see anything listed about your market that's incorrect, please let me know and I can get that changed. But it was based on the information that was submitted. Here's some feedback from customers about the Double Up program. We do a lot of surveying for the program just to see how it's working. So you can read some of these. Customers report making lifestyle changes, diet changes, and then also I always think this one's really cool. They teach their kids about the value of produce, and sometimes give their Double Up tokens to their children so they can make choices with what they want to purchase and eat, which is always a good lesson. All right, so the Double Up program has different roles. Like I've mentioned, the USDA funds the program. Hunger Free is contracted to run and manage the program, and each market that participates in the program has a contract with Hunger Free to implement the program in their community. And then the farmers markets will also have an agreement with their produce vendors that are eligible to participate to sell their produce in exchange for the Double Up tokens. So different roles in the program, and we'll get into more of that during this training as well. So Double Up benefits multiple different parts of the local food system. It gives families more money to purchase and consume fruits and vegetables. It improves the health of the consumers, and then it also strengthens the community whenever those Double Up dollars and incentives are spent with the grocery stores and farmers markets. They stay within the local economy. So this is just some data about SNAP amounts issued and redeemed at farmers markets. And so you can see the last couple years, the SNAP issued and redeemed rates have grown. They grew dramatically in 2023 and then dropped a little bit whenever some of the pandemic benefits ended. But the redemption rates from 2023 to 2024 remain the same. So we're seeing that SNAP customers at farmers markets are still redeeming at the same rate as they were previously, although the amount of SNAP issued and redeemed has gone down just slightly. And then here's another one for Duo issued and redeemed over the last few years as well. The redemption rates here actually grew from 2023 to 2024, so that's exciting to see, even though, like I said, the actual amounts dropped a little bit due to the SNAP benefits also dropping down a little bit. We're seeing that the redemption rates are growing, so that's awesome. And this slide just shows the economic impact of the program so far. And so using this tool from the Nutrition Incentive Hub that they created in partnership with some of their university partners, they created this tool. And so this middle number, this 659,000 number is the actual amount of the incentives that have been redeemed at all the farmers markets since the program started. And then they use their economic multiplier to see that for the local economy, that impact is actually more along the lines of $923,000. So it's exciting to see the impact that this program makes and keeps within the community.
When you say issued, does that mean like the card was swiped?
Issued means, yes, the card was swiped and the tokens were given to the customers, and then redeemed is what they give to the vendors and the vendors turn into the market.
Okay.
All right, so working with Hunger Free, these are some tools that we provide to the markets. All the markets get a market manager guide, which we're given out in person at the training, and we will be mailing those binders to you if you prefer to have physical copies of the guide. We'll be mailing those to you, but also I'll be sending an email with all the digital files as well. So you'll have both based on what you prefer. We also have videos that can train vendors and other staff working at the market on customer service for Double Up. And then they also go over how to fill out some of these record forms that we require. And then these are the forms here. And like I said, these will be included in your market manager guide that we'll be mailing you if you prefer to take these out and make copies of them, or they'll also be sent digitally, and so you can download and print them off as needed. Also, when you're looking through the guide, you'll see some of these symbols. The symbol is like one of the pages we recommend to pull out of the guide to keep it on hand for easy access. And then these symbols are parts of the guide and parts of the training that have the videos to go along with them. All right, so how Double Up works at the farmers market is that SNAP shoppers visit the information booth or the manager booth, and they request how much SNAP that they would like to take off their SNAP card. Most markets use the token system. So if a customer wants to take $50 off of their SNAP card, they'll receive 50 SNAP tokens. And then they'll also receive matching Double Up tokens, dollar for dollar, up to $20 a day. Those Double Up tokens are different than the SNAP tokens, so they're easy to identify, and we'll provide those to the markets. And then customers take those SNAP tokens and those Duo tokens to the vendors, and they buy SNAP eligible items with their SNAP tokens, and they buy Duo eligible items with their Duo tokens. And so if you're already running a SNAP program with tokens, then it's the same type system, but you're just adding an additional token to the system. And so we have some checklists that we'll go through, and they're also in the binder, season checklist and preseason checklist, and then a checklist of market day just to keep tasks organized. So preseason, we're in the middle of that right now. all markets that run the Double Up program have to have a signed contract each year with Hunger Free. And then an MOU. The MOUs are only done once when the market starts, and they're good until the end of our current grant cycle. Each market has to have a new signed contract each year before they can start running the Double Up program for that year. We ask that markets attend an annual training hosted by Hunger Free, and so that's what is happening right now. Reviewing the market manager binder, will ship you the Double Up tokens that your market will need. And then markets recruit and train their produce vendors and their non-produce vendors on the requirements of the program to make sure that everybody's on the same page. And then Hunger Free also provides Double Up signage for the markets to promote the program. During the farmers market season, markets can start the season with social media and local announcements that the market is back and that they accept SNAP and Double Up payments at the market. We ask that markets complete daily reports for each day the market is open. They manage the inventory of tokens. They reimburse their vendors for SNAP and Duo tokens and other programs accepted. Markets submit monthly reports and invoices to Hunger Free. And then there are some participant surveys where we got those quotes earlier that happen at the market. Not all markets, but some markets, May through August. So we can, evaluate how the program's working and report that back to our funders. And then at the end of season, we make sure that all of the reports are completed for each month. The final invoices are submitted. We ask the markets to report the tokens that they have on hand. That way we know if they're going to need any more to start off the next season. And then we end with a market manager survey about how the program worked this year so we can make changes as needed for next year. And so this is a daily checklist for each market day. Before the market day, we recommend pre-counting and bagging the tokens. Oftentimes markets bag them in bags of 10 or 20, since those are some standard amounts that customers usually request or take off their card for SNAP. And so they're easy to grab. And then also maybe having some loose tokens if a customer orders or requests like 12 tokens, you can just grab those two really quick. On the actual market day, you'll bring out your supplies to your market location. You can bring your Double Up binder, or if you have a smaller market day binder, you can bring that. Bringing out your tokens that you'll give out, putting out all your signage. You'll do a walkthrough to check with your vendors to make sure they're displaying their signage. And more signage. Signage is very important to making people aware that the program is at this market and how to use it. Throughout the day, you'll distribute the SNAP and Duo tokens to customers as needed, and fill out the customer transaction report, which we'll get into here in a few minutes. And then at the end of the day, you'll complete your vendor reimbursement record. You'll also finish up the transaction record and complete the market day summary if that is that's an optional sheet that we'll also talk about soon if you want to use that. And then you'll close out your EBT machine and print the batch report that goes with closing out the machine. And so, again, there's different areas of responsibility outlined in the contract. The contract outlines use of incentives, how vendors are managed, vendors that accept the program are managed, customer interaction, and then reporting and invoicing to Hunger Free. And so, Duo eligible foods, at farmers markets, it's a little bit more expansive than grocery stores. Grocery stores can only do fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, but at farmers markets, we allow also canned, dried, and frozen, if any of your vendors are doing those type things. Freeze dried also counts as long as those items, those produce items, have no added sugars, fats, oils, or salt. Then it would be duo eligible. So, for example, a just like canned tomatoes to preserve them that have no additives, those would be eligible. But if it has any additives like Italian seasoning or salt, more of a spaghetti sauce type thing, then that would be an ineligible product. Plants that grow food and seeds that grow food are also eligible items at farmers markets. So if your vendors have any plant starts, peppers or tomatoes or anything like that, those items are eligible to be purchased with double up tokens. Are there any questions about eligible food items?
Well, you can't can vegetables without salt. So if it's like canned okra with salt, then that's not eligible.
Yes. Yeah, there are some like preservatives like citric acid. And there's like a whole list from the USDA of what items are and aren't eligible. But yeah, I don't think that citric acid is eligible either. So you're right, like you can't can vegetables without salt. But I guess this just means like,
Yeah.
if a jelly doesn't have anything in it or like that type stuff. I don't know. We don't come across these very often, but they are allowed. I would say the one that comes across the most is freeze dried.
And frozen. I
vegetables.
feel like I've seen a lot of frozen vegetables.
Yeah. So like freeze dried okra, that crunchy okra without anything added to it would be eligible. But if they put salt to flavor it or anything, it wouldn't be.
You said to flavor it. I apologize. Quick. On the salt. Okay, so there's zero salt. Even if you just use the salt, like the bare minimum for preserving it, it's still ineligible. It's technically not for flavor, it's for preservation.
Yes, even if it's for preserving. Like I said, we don't see those very often, but they are allowed.
They are allowed. Okay. I was kidding.
Oh, they.
Yeah.
'Cause that's all we have at our market mostly is canned vegetables. Like our producers, when they don't sell, they can them. But I'm sure that they use a little bit of salt. Yeah. Okay.
Question. If a vendor has freeze dried like onions, say, and then they grind them down to make like an onion powder, is that eligible? Nothing added, just the onion.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that. That's a good question. We haven't come across
That's
that.
an accessory food because it's
Okay.
now an herb.
Okay.
Did you hear that? Okay.
Unfortunately, I want it to be eligible too. But yeah,
Okay.
but we explored that last year. Remember
Okay.
all the dried peppers and stuff for like Chipotle and powder and stuff.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Meredith. So Hunger Free, like I said, surveys different participants and vendors in the program, as well as market managers. So we do a lot of surveying to make sure the program is running effectively and efficiently. And then, if there's anything that we need to change, we will. Okay, so I have this question on here. Feel free to, come off mute or you can type it in the chat if you'd like. But for returning markets, what are some best practices? Maybe like one tip that you've learned from running Duo, and for new markets, if you would like to share anything that you're looking forward to about running the program, you can.
Well, I'm super excited to offer it this year because I don't feel like we had a lot of SNAP participation in our first year in business last year. And we have 7 produce vendors signed up this year. So I think this is really going to help sell more produce and healthy foods to our community. So I'm really excited about that.
Great. Thank you. we'll keep going then. So this section is about working with the customers that utilize the program. This chart kind of gives an example about how to talk with your customers about Snap and Duo. On the reporting sheets, there's a question about if this is your first time using Snap and EBT at the market. If they say that it is, then you'll check that column on the record sheet and you'll explain how the Snap and the token system work at your market. And then you'll let them know the Snap eligible food items. If they say no, if they're familiar with the SNAP program, then they've used SNAP at the market before, so they know how it works. And then you'll also ask them about if they're familiar with Double Up. If they say yes, then obviously they've used it before. But if they're not familiar, then you'll also explain how the Double Up tokens work and what the Double Up eligible food items are. In the market manager guide, there's a script here. And so it just gives a little bit more detail about what you can say to the customers and what you can expand upon, whether they have or haven't heard of the program before. And so that'll be in your guide. So like I said, the token distribution, this just kind of gives a visual example of it. If a customer requests less than $20, then you'll give them that amount requested in Snap tokens and the same amount requested in Duo tokens. If they request $20 worth of Snap, you'll give them their $20 worth of Snap tokens and their $20 worth of Duo tokens. And then if they request more than $20, you'll give them the amount they requested and then only the $20 maximum amount of Duo tokens per day. Okay, this is the customer transaction record. And for those markets that are returning, I want to point out that this has changed. So this is important. We used to track Snap customers by, in the second column right here, by the last 4 digits of their EBT card, but we are no longer able to do that. This policy has been in place by the USDA for a while, but it hasn't really been enforced. Now it is being enforced due to the increased instances of SNAP fraud and customers' benefits getting stolen. So now we, as the grantee, are no longer able to track any part of the SNAP number in part or in full to better protect the SNAP customer. We used that SNAP number originally to track if a customer came back more than once in a market day. The employee working the booth would look back at the second column here and they'd be able to tell by their SNAP card if they'd already visited that day. So they wouldn't get over the daily amount of Duo. But now, since we can't track that anymore, we've come up with a solution. Hopefully it'll work. We have been piloting it at some of the year-round markets, but the new unique identifier / tracker is the customer's first and last initial, which can still be taken off of the EBT card if it's able to be read. And then asking them for the last 4 digits of their phone number, or if they don't feel comfortable providing that, their zip code. Are there any questions about that so far? I know it's different, and the feedback we've gotten from the markets that have been piloting it says that it does at first take a little bit of getting used to for the customers and for the market staff to make that change in their script, basically. And it can slow down the process at first, but after just a couple of market days, the customers that visit frequently get used to the new policy around tracking. This first column here is going to be optional. When we were coming up with new ideas about how to implement this, some markets reported that they used that last 5 digits of the EBT card that was originally being tracked as a way of linking back the receipt to this page if there was any type of discrepancy with their record keeping and their financials for SNAP. So they used it because it also prints on the receipt. So as a solution, we added this column, which is optional. You don't have to use it if you don't think that this will be an issue for you. But if you need a way to track the receipt back to this page, you can note the sequence number, which is also listed on the receipt. And so if there's any type of, bookkeeping that needs to be done, the sequence number can be linked back to that transaction and you can see what the receipt said versus what the customer transaction record says. Are there any questions about this?
This is also something really helpful. One thing I just wanted to make a note for taxes to show that you are money's coming in and out and you're not keeping it all. So just wanted to make that note. This is a dual use form.
Mm-hmm. And it also has these other columns, which when you get the digital file, if you don't have the Senior Farmers Market program or if you don't use credit or debit card transactions like at the information booth and you use different programs or systems, you can edit this form to customize it for the programs that your market takes. If that's something that you'd also like to track on this form, like Meredith said, it can be a good form for tax purposes.
So is the the first and last initial and digits required just for Duo or also for Snap?
It's required for yes, for Snap too. I mean, it's for this sheet is what we use for Duo reporting, but since the Snap transaction and the Duo transaction at the market booth are happening at the same time, then it would be for Snap and Duo.
So is there any cases where they don't want a Duo and they get Snap or?
I mean, every once in a while it's Catherine.
Yeah, sometimes folks don't want their match, which is fine. But I would still record their first and last initial and their phone number just to, if they come back later and they do decide they want it, then there's record of it too.
Okay. So but the senior column is just if we want to use that, we don't have to use that for this tracker for seniors.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
As your market continues to expand and grow in business, once you hit that $10,000 threshold, you do have to file taxes, and that's where having this documented through this type of paperwork is extremely beneficial because you're not having to recreate anything. You literally just upload this and prove that you have the money come in, come out.
All right. This is an example about how this form looks when it's filled out. And so you can see that this person visited 3 times during a market day. The first time they took out $20 worth of Snap and received $20 worth of Duo. The second time they visited, they requested an additional $30 in Snap, but since they already received their $20 worth of Duo, they're not receiving any more for the day, and so they got no additional Duo issued. And then they visited again and they wanted $25 more off their Snap card. And then again, they already met their maximum amount for Duo, and so they wouldn't receive any more. This one shows that this individual visited twice. Their first visit, they received $10 in Snap and then $10 in Duo. And then they decided, sorry, these are a little bit out of order. They decided to come back and they received $30 in Snap. Since they received $10 in Duo earlier, they would only receive $10 worth of Duo to meet their $20 limit. And so they would only get matched up to $10 for that second transaction. Oops, sorry. sorry, couldn't go back. But that last one, they received $15 worth of Duo Snap, and then they only received $15 worth of Duo, and they only visited that one time. This column is the one that shows customers that visited the market for the first time to use their EBT card. And so you'll ask that question for each transaction, and then just make a check or an X of it right there, and then it gets totaled here at the bottom of the page right there. This is counting the unique customers. So in that first example, customers can come visit the market information booth multiple times if they'd like, and they can take out, you know, as much as they want off their SNAP card, but they'll only receive the $20 match, and they're only counted for their first visit for counting and tracking unique customers. And so this gives a visual example of it, that there were 6 customers that visited the information booth. This person came back twice, and so he had 2 transactions, and so did this person. And so for counting unique customers, they're only counted as unique for the first time they visit during the market day. And so there were 8 total transactions, but only 6 unique customers. Are there any questions about this? Again, this shows counting the unique customers. So this person, since they visited 3 times, they're not counted as unique on their second and third visit for the day. This person visited twice, so they're not counted again. And so at the bottom of the page here, where you total up the total number of transactions and then the unique number of customers, it would be 8 unique Duo customers and 8 unique Snap customers. And then the total number is above it, 11 and 9.
I know this sounds strange, but where we live, there are actually quite a few people that do not have phones. I know it sounds strange, but they don't.
No, that's okay. In that case, I would ask for their initials and then their zip code.
Zip code, that's what you said. I do apologize. Thank you.
No, you're good. We didn't want to just do zip codes because some of the larger markets, the zip codes can end up blurring together if they're, you know, a lot of people in the same area are visiting. And so we thought that the phone number would be a little bit more unique. But if folks don't have a phone number, then you can track it by their zip code. Okay, so the market day summary sheet, which is this one here on the right, is a sheet that we provide for tracking, but it's optional. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. Some markets don't, other ones do. But basically, you can take all of your customer transaction records from the day and then put that information onto one sheet so it's easy to look at a glance. And so for this first sheet, it would be row 1 right here. You'd put all the information from the sheet, the total amount of Snap, Duo, and other programs there. If you have additional sheets, you would take the information from each additional sheet and put it in the rows below, if that's applicable.
And this is really more helpful for our markets once you get to multiple sheets.
Yeah, multiple sheets. Like I said, this is optional, and so if you don't want to do this part, don't. I used to manage a farmer's market, and even though we did have multiple sheets, we did not use this. It just didn't work for us, but other markets do. So whatever works for you, the sheet is optional, but it is a good one to look at it at a glance. And this is what it looks like filled out. So they took all the information from the first customer transaction record and put it here. They had a second sheet, so they put all the information there, and then they totaled it all out right here for the customer transaction record. In a minute, we'll get into the vendor reimbursement sheets, but they also had one sheet of vendor reimbursement information, so they put it here. And then this is the part right here where you can also attach the EBT batch report. So that's what it looked like on the old machines. If you've gotten your new machine, I'm not sure what they'll look like just yet, but
The
it'll
new
kind of
machines are better, you guys. Oh, it's gonna be so nice. You'll be able to look up transactions up to I think 10 days. So if
wow.
you lost a receipt and you're like, "Oh no, I'm missing like, it doesn't add up," you can go back and look up. I think they said 10 days.
When are we getting that?
You turned in everything. Have you turned in everything?
I sent in all the
Okay.
paperwork a while ago. I still have my old one all boxed up to
Okay.
give to you guys when you come, but
We will check to make sure they said they'd already been sending them out, so
oh,
I would
okay.
assume since you were on the first batch, you would have gotten yours already, but we'll follow up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also at the bottom of the sheet here, if you know how many tokens you brought out for that market day, then you can enter that here and then how many tokens that you take back. So you're tracking the amount of tokens that you have. All right. Another question, if anybody would like to answer it, just sharing some best practices that the market does to provide good customer service or fill out these customer tracking sheets, if anybody would like to share.
I feel like it really needs one person dedicated, like the entire market, like
Yeah.
not like switching with volunteers or like probably, right? Like
It can work switching with volunteers. Like I said, whenever I was whenever I worked at the market, we would switch with staff or volunteers. But it's just a matter of if you did switch and if someone comes up, just making sure to look back at that transaction sheet before finishing up their transaction to make sure everything's correct.
is there a
No, you can go, ma'am.
Okay, I was gonna change subject. Go ahead.
Oh, I was okay. The way, whoa, sorry. Some of the things we talk about to like get customers like interested in our farmers market, I guess, is for me, I like to talk about livestock and where the livestock and meat come from and the different type of cuts we have.
Nice. Yeah, providing that education and background about where the products are raised is super helpful for customers. Thank you for sharing. Did you have another question, Melissa?
Is there going to be a section in your presentation about marketing to the customers?
Yes, there
Okay.
will be.
Okay, thanks.
All right, well, we'll keep going. This section is about working with your vendors. And so each vendor that participates in Duo, so each produce vendor at your market, should have a vendor agreement with your market that you will send a copy of to Hunger Free. The vendor agreement, gives background about the program and outlines what products are eligible for the vendor to sell and how, just specifics about the transactions and tokens. We also have, if a vendor wants it, if they don't understand why they're not eligible to participate in the Double Up program, we also have vendor agreements that outline basically that says like you're not eligible to participate in the program. Those don't get used often, but if there is a vendor that has questions or an issue with not being able to participate in this program, we have a document that you can send them that just kind of outlines it for them. For Double Up eligible produce, we define it as Oklahoma grown or local produce that was grown within 100 miles of the market location. If your market has different rules around this, then that's okay. But if it doesn't have rules around it, then the produce that can be exchanged for Double Up tokens must be grown in Oklahoma, or if your market is near, the border of one of our, or in Oklahoma, near the border of a different state, and your vendors come from out of state, it needs to be within 100 miles of your market location. Here are some tools we provide for working with your vendors. We have a vendor guide and then a video that you can show at your vendor training that just gives them background about the program and program specifics. Oh, this is that video right now, actually. Let's see if it'll play. You guys hear that?
Appreciate this opportunity to tell you about Double Up Oklahoma, often shortened to DUO. It is an important program to help people afford nutritious food. You play an important role in making sure Oklahomans have access to food at your farmers market. You are helping to expand sales at your farmers market, and this helps everyone. Customers who qualify for DUO get tokens at the market customer service table. DUO tokens have value in full dollar increments. They are made of silver plastic and have the DUO logo printed on them. During the market day, a customer may want to pay in tokens. So let's talk about what you should do when that happens. First, DUO tokens can only be used for fruits, vegetables, herbs, and plants that grow food. These fruits, vegetables, and herbs may be fresh, frozen, canned, or dried. Important note here, these items cannot have added salt, sugar, oil, or fat. Tokens may not be used for meat, dairy, eggs, bread, nuts, or any of those fruits or vegetables where salt, sugar, or fat has been added. If you only sell eligible fruit, vegetables, herbs, or plants that grow food, then you can use these tokens for any transactions at your stand. If you sell a mix of eligible and ineligible foods, you'll need to be careful to separate out what you sell in exchange for DUO tokens. We encourage you to have a system to help you remember. Unfortunately, you can't be compensated if you accept tokens for ineligible items or aren't a DUO eligible vendor. In working with a customer, you may have a situation where the amount due is not a round number. Maybe a purchase costs $2.45. What should you do when the DUO tokens are only in full dollar increments? Unless your market has a different policy, you should round down for amounts under 50 cents and up for amounts 50 cents or more. So you would round down to $2 for this $2.45 purchase. Another purchase worth $5.70 would round up to $6. Please ask your market manager if you have any questions about DUO or how to handle DUO tokens. You play an important role in making sure people have access to your farm-grown fruits and vegetables. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and understand how you can support this important program.
Okay. So the next record that we're going to talk about is the vendor reimbursement record. This is where you record all of the tokens that are turned back into you from your vendors at the end of each day. In this first column, you'll record the vendor's name, how much SNAP tokens they received, how much DUO tokens they received, and then other programs. Here, you can total the amount that is going to be reimbursed to the vendor. And then here is where you note your payment. So you'll note the date that they're paid, the method that they were paid, and then if they were paid with a check, then you'll put the check number here in this last column. And then this, this shows the, like I said, the activity, how much of each token was turned in based on the program, the total amount that the vendor is owed, and then how they were paid. And I think it shows, this is an example of what it looks like filled out. So This vendor, Count Brocula, they received $50 worth of SNAP tokens, $30 worth of Duo tokens, and $20 worth of senior farmers market tokens. So they are due $100 and they were reimbursed via check, and there's the check number. If you have different methods where you reimburse each vendor, you'll note that. So it can be different based on if you have different policies for each vendor. But this is the record that we'll need in order to reimburse you, because we'll look at all of these Duo tokens, or the Duo column, and for all your sheets that you turn in and total up the total Duo amount, and that's the amount that Hunger Free will reimburse to each market so they can pay their vendors.
Is this required to be handed in? Because I had you use a different sheet that had exactly the same information on it, but it
If
has more.
Yeah, if you already are using a sheet that has the same information, we just ask that you add Duo to that. And so if you have a process already, then you can use that,
Okay.
but just make sure to include Duo so we can know how much to reimburse your market for.
Okay.
And yeah, this, like with the other sheets you'll receive, the physical and digital copies of these. So if you did need to edit this and customize it for your market based on your programs, then you can do that too. And this just shows a video about how to complete that form. So we'll watch this really quickly.
Hi, let's talk about how to complete the vendor reimbursement record. This record is used for all food assistance programs to help you keep track of reimbursements. It's important to say at the start that Duo is a government-funded program managed by Hunger Free Oklahoma. Your attention to detail is very helpful as HFO works to account for the public funds used to support this program. At the start of your market day, vendors may come up to you with tokens in hand, ready to cash them in. If your market runs on more than one day in a week, you may have vendors cashing in tokens once a week. Whatever your system is, the process is the same. You complete the record by writing down the name of the vendor, noting the value of any food benefit tokens they cash in, and the total owed to the vendor. You also need to provide information about how you paid the vendor. Different markets do this in different ways. Let's look at some examples. Some markets write checks to vendors. They note the date of payment, circle check in this next column, and write the check number. You may pay your vendors with cash. Note the date of payment and circle cash. Other markets pay by ACH. Here's an example of a batch of payments. Note the clear totals and money transfer information. In both cases, you could go back and track the funds if needed. Accounting gets a little more complicated if you pay for multiple market days at a time, but you can still have clear records. Here's an example of a vendor who was paid for 2 market days with one check, Elm Bark LLC. Notice the note of when the vendor will be paid, and a second note showing the balance from the previous week. Again, you could track the funds if needed. HFO reimburses farmers markets for Duo tokens only. That means this amount at the bottom of your form. When it comes to Duo, please remember that items such as meat, cheese, eggs, and bread are ineligible. We ask that you take care not to reimburse vendors for these goods because HFO can't reimburse you. Please ask if you have any questions. We at HFO appreciate your help managing the Double Up Oklahoma program at your farmers market.
That sheet, similar to the customer transaction record sheet that we talked about earlier, can also be used during tax season if you need to upload those documents. It shows that your vendors were paid and reimbursed for their SNAP and their Duo and other programs they receive. So Double Up, like I said, is also in grocery stores. Grocery store, this is what many of the vouchers for our participating grocery stores look like. And so if there is a participating grocery store in your area, or even if a SNAP customer happens to be traveling and visits your market and they have this, then these vouchers that are issued at grocery stores cannot be redeemed at farmers markets, and tokens that are earned at farmers markets cannot be used at grocery stores. Yeah, we've had a couple instances this year where we've opened Duo in new grocery stores that are near farmers markets, and this has come up, so we wanted to include it, that they have to be used at the store in which they were earned, and they can't be used at farmers markets. All right, another question, if anyone would like to answer, are what are some best practices that you've used for training your vendors on the Double Up program? Is the training video that we watched, is it helpful? Do you show your vendors that during your meetings? If not, what are some better tools that you use, or what would be a better tool that we could provide for the future?
Melissa does a really good job of providing all the links and all the trainings that we need as vendors. So just having access to that, and it's really all in just one area. We just get to click on it and watch it. So and just correspond back with her as far as that we completed the task and that we understand it. So and then she always checks with all the vendors before the markets, just to kind of let everybody know what's going on. I guess you could say like a pre hoorah for the day. But yeah, I enjoy that because we don't all have time to get together and have like just a certain set meetings. So it's just there for us to watch and get the training that we need.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. All right, we'll keep going. So reports are due to Hunger Free. Each month, they're due on the second Monday of every month. And so these right here are the monthly report dates for 2025. This will also be listed in your in the binder that you'll receive a physical and digital copy of. So no need to rush to write these down. But if a market is open in May and accepting Double Up in May, then you'll go through the month of May, but you'll submit your May report on or by June 9th. And so you're submitting for the month before it's due, if that makes sense. And then for the report, it's through a smart sheet. The smart sheets have been updated already with everyone's market name for this year. So you'll take all of these reporting documents, the customer transaction records, the vendor reimbursement records, and then the market day summary if you choose to use that. And you'll upload copies of those reports to the smart sheet. You can scan them with a scanner and upload them, or you can take photos with your phone and upload the photos to the smart sheet. But we'll need this supporting documentation, which is what you're filling out throughout the month, as well as these metrics that we ask for in the report, like the number of unique customers, total customers that used Snap and Duo throughout the month. You'll enter all that information in, as well as you can also submit your invoice through here, or it can be emailed to the Double Up email. But this is the report that you'll submit each month. So we have all of the records and can reimburse your market. This pages in your market manager guide define each section of the report. So firm name is going to be your market name, so on and so forth. I won't go through all these right now, but as you're filling out the report, having this sheet with you for the first couple times is helpful because on the left here is the question that's on the smart sheet, and then on the right here is like the explanation of it and where you can find it with your documents. And then the way that the reporting works, like I said, is we reimburse you for the amount of double up redeemed the month before. This first one right here, if markets need what we call an initial disbursement to like kind of start up before the beginning of the season, to reimburse their vendors before they receive that first reimbursement from Hunger Free, we can issue that to the market and then reconcile it at the end. It's not a requirement if your market doesn't need that, but it is available. So this just gives a visual explanation of the monthly reporting. So say that in the month of May, your market collects or the vendors collect $88 worth of Duo redeemed. You'll send us an invoice for $88, and then we will reimburse you for that amount. And then the next month, if the invoice is 120, we'll reimburse you for 120, and so on and so forth until the end of the season. If your market received the initial disbursement up front, and then it's reconciled with your last invoice. So since this last invoice was 150, but the market received the upfront initial disbursement from Hunger Free of $100, then we would deduct that from the final invoice, and the market would receive $50 to reconcile that. Are there any questions about this process? It can be a little confusing, but hopefully this visual helps. All right, I think we're getting to the end of it here. Okay, yeah, some more. This is the token formula. And so we provide also a token record to help you keep track of the amount of tokens. And if you ever need more tokens throughout the season, you can email us and we will send you more tokens. But to help keep track of your tokens, you'll record the amount of tokens you have at the start of the season, minus the amount of tokens that you distribute to customers each market. And then when the tokens come back to you and they're returned by the vendors, you'll add those back into circulation and note that. And then we'll ask in the end of the year survey for the number of tokens that you have at the end of the season. These tokens can be used at any participating farmers market. So if you're in an area with another participating Duo market, customers can take tokens that they received at your market and spend them at another market, but they don't have any value until they're spent. So it's not like you're giving customers tokens and losing money on that. The tokens don't have value until they're spent with the vendors. Are there any questions about that? Okay, cool. We also ask that tokens aren't modified or changed in any way. We've had some instances in the past where markets weren't happy about that their tokens were leaving their market and not coming back. And so they started Xing out tokens to make sure that, oh, these ones were earned at our market, that type thing. But that is not allowed. We have enough tokens. So if you're running low on tokens, if customers are not returning them, or if they're hoarding them, or if they get lost, you don't have to worry about that. We'll give you more tokens. But best practice around tokens is just encouraging the customer to spend their Duo tokens on produce first, because that's what they can be spent on. Use those first at the farmer's market, and then use your SNAP tokens on the SNAP eligible items like meat and bread and other things. So they're using their double up tokens first, hopefully. But there are times when they get lost or people are saving up tokens for larger purchases. So that does happen. I think, yeah, this is the end. Oni has another presentation that they're going to do, and then we're going to have time for question and answer. But are there any specific questions right now? Anything you'd like me to go back to or go over again?
Is the marketing part in the Oni presentation? Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We
I'm
can take
taking.
a quick break if, oh, go ahead, Meredith.
Yeah. Deanna had a family emergency, so I'm going to be taking on the presentation. But yeah, we can take a break or we can power through, whichever. What are y'all feeling? Feeling like we can power through?
I think so.
I could power through.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hold on, I screwed up. Hold on. Share again. Okay. There we go. All right. Well, we're going to talk about owning support to increase SNAP sales. And I'm Meredith Scott, not Deanna. But she is the point person and is our outreach manager that oversees all of our farmers market efforts. So you will be, you probably have already worked with her. And then also we have Sierra and Catherine on the call today, and they will also be helping a lot with Double Up. I think many of you guys already know this, so I'll go over this quickly. But we've been working with farmers markets since 2011, and really seeing that there were some systematic opportunities for improvement and in marketing and helping support our producers. And so we started hosting the Oklahoma Local Ag Summit in 2014 to really try to bring producers together and market managers together to brainstorm, share ideas, and overall learn from each other so that we grow our food system in the state and be a bit more sustainable. ONI provides one-on-one technical assistance, and we also provide marketing support. And then in addition to that, we try to work with our dietitians to create season specific education materials. So part of the work that we do is really trying to help you guys make your markets a really welcoming environment for EBT usage at your market. With that, we have signage and tents and education trainings and different things to help make it as easy as possible for your market to adopt and onboard all your producers. As this is this technical support, when we started, we were working with 4 farmers markets. Now we have 76 farmers markets, which is beautiful, but it also has forced us to be a bit streamline our technical support in a way that we really want to help you as much as possible, but do note that we are also working with 75 other farmers markets. We try to serve as a local connection so you have an issue with your maybe you get paperwork to having to reauthorize for SNAP. We can help you with that. Or you have an issue with an unruly customer, or we can help you with the civil rights needs to resolve those issues. Or you want to start accepting senior benefits, or you're interested in accepting WIC, tribal WIC, and you need to get connected with those people. We are constantly looking for ways to be that connection for you and know who to talk to so that you can get connected with the right people and get the right services. We do site visits annually and sometimes multiple times a year if needed. We do social media promotion, which we'll be talking about. Not actually says fall season promotion. We actually, for Double Up Markets, do year-round promotion, which we can talk about in a minute. And then we also provide SNAP and senior farmers market trainings, especially for our newer markets. You know, as you guys are getting your vendors onboarded for the first time, we really want to make sure that we're there to help with any of the questions or confusion on the process. In our site visits, we try to help provide you as many resources as possible ahead of time. So we do have a pre-assessment, which we'll talk about in a minute, but we want to provide you with as many physical resources, but also provide tips or, you know, share ideas that maybe other markets similar to yours are adopting that could maybe help resolve some of your challenges. And there are two groups that we support. We have our farmers markets, which receive our highest level of support. That's the site visits. We provide a lot more promotion. We do social media promotion, and we, if budget allows, postcards to families who are on SNAP in your community. The farm stands, we also support them, but because of the demand with the farmers markets, we can't do as many farm stands. In that we do phone call support, which farmers markets also have phone call support, site visits as needed if there is an issue that needs to be resolved. And then we do provide the EBT promotion and some social media if the budget is allowed, but farmers markets take the priority. Here's some of the materials that I've seen at your guys' market in action. And so if, you know, we're constantly looking for opportunities to purchase more, to provide for you guys. I think the branding is important to just help your market show legitimacy and like that you're a real farmers market, you're established, you're recognized, and helping the participants and shoppers feel really welcome and lower the stigma for using their benefits at the market.
The last presentation said something about like, which I thought was a cool idea, putting tokens like in pre-bagging tokens. Is there different bags available for the Duo, or would it be the same materials as that on that list?
It would be the same token bags, those little white ones that we have. We have not created Duo specific token bags yet.
Okay.
But maybe in the future we will. And so we do have token guides. These help our market, our vendors as well as our shoppers know what they can and cannot buy with the different benefits. And they are available in English and Spanish if your market needs that. We also have tailored recipe cards. These were developed with our dietitians, so we know that they and we analyze the nutrition labels. So we truly made these recipes, took the pictures. We know that the recipe actually tastes good. They're actually in the kitchen right now cooking up recipes. We'll get a taste test all day today. And so on these recipe cards, the goal is to try to introduce seasonal produce in Oklahoma, give the shoppers who you know, about like learn a little bit facts, because I know that farmers can talk a lot, but there's a level of like you say the same thing a billion times. You know, here's like, hey, you want to learn more about tomatoes? Here's a little, you know, quick guide for it, and it'll tell you how to, you know, how to select them, how to store them, how to prepare them. One important thing that I would like to say is if you're working in your market and you're like, you know what, we have kohlrabi. It grows like weeds in you know, Tallahena. We need some recipe cards about kohlrabi. Let us know, and we can make a kohlrabi recipe card if that's needed. We want to hear from you guys to know what produce that you need a push. We know that like having these produce cards next to the product or at the market helps nudge the shopper to be like, oh, okay, that's a recipe I feel like I can make. And then they actually will buy the product. So having the recipe cards with the seasonal produce is really beneficial. If you have a seasonal produce item that you want to feature, or even herbs or different things like that, we want to help you with creating some recipe cards. And let's see. Yeah. So there are the recipe cards. We do Facebook advertising. This is a really big one. But just before I start this, we have to have administrative access to your social media to do this. I believe everybody on this call has already provided that, but if not, we need to have that or we can't do this. And this is extremely, extremely valuable. So what we do is we will work with you to collect pictures and make advertisements that will go directly on your social media page with dollars behind it to promote it in your community. And so right now we're planning on doing 4 different advertisements, paid advertisements on your social media page in June, July, August, and November. And then if you haven't already, we'll ask you for access so that we can get on the back end and do what is necessary. You will be able, even if we're still administrators, you will still have full access to see how it's going. And we might do some minor edits to your page, such as like making sure that you have like we're an equal opportunity provider listed in your about, or that we accept Double Up and Snap. And, we'll make sure that all the wording that you're using on your about page, about component of your Facebook page is in compliance with the program. But that is kind of gives you an idea of some of the advertisements. These pictures that we want to use your pictures, or we want to use pictures from your market. We will try to come when we do our site visits, we will come with our camera and take pictures. But I mean, like, I know when I came to Talahina, it was raining outside. The pictures didn't quite, there was a lot of like blurriness and mud involved. So I didn't get to take the best pictures of product that day. So, but I bet Melissa has a phone full of beautiful photos that she could share. And we would promote a picture that is truly of your market. And it's pretty kind of fun to know that is actually a producer. So we do really want to have you guys share photos with us so that we can use the best photos possible. And then talking about that, here's the QR code. We will email this out to you to upload photos. Okay, yeah.
I was just about to say that Bailey and I have been working on that, so we'll be reaching out soon. So please look for that so we have up-to-date photos.
Perfect. Yes. Yeah. I was actually looking through some photos to update this presentation, and I was like, we need to take more pictures.
Did you also look through our photo albums to find like ones we've used?
From social media?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have taken from social media. The challenge is that, as you know, like the quality reduces when you download it from the social. So having it direct from you would be the highest quality. I mean, a camera obviously would be, gold standard, but a nice cleaned lens, cell phone photo can also work.
Right. Okay.
So, but yeah, that's why we try not, sometimes we can take a picture from social media and it works, but a lot of times because of it kind of gets a little granulated.
Right.
And so why do we want to use Facebook? Well, it's because everybody uses Facebook. Even if you don't want to use Facebook, you use Facebook because that is how people get connected in this day and age. And it also has a lot of flexibility in our ability to really target geographically and by like education and different things. There was a law that passed where you can't advertise based off of income. But we are allowed to advertise based off of geographical or education, or even like maybe like in interest. And so what we try to do is get as much as we can to the people that would be shopping at your market. Typically 30-mile radius around your market, and we will work with you to get a list of zip codes. We have a list of zip codes, but making sure that you feel like those are the zip codes that we should be prioritizing. And
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was wondering, so like whenever you're taking the photos for your own personal, so like for us, the hub or like the market or whatever, would certain hashtags help get out things better?
Yeah, I think so this is maybe where Bailey or Deanna might have a better understanding on but there are yeah, I think people do hashtags are a way that people can search topics. And so using a hashtag can help people find markets. I can have Bailey maybe like send an email about like what are the hashtags to use. Sierra, let's write that as a note on like providing the markets a list of like these are the probably the best hashtags to use to get people interested in local food and farmers markets to come to your market.
Thank you.
And one note that I think is important is that I don't know, I'm trying to think everybody on this call where you're located, but it is going to be important if you are in a higher income community that we will have to be a bit more it won't just be a geographical zip code situation. We will need to look at like education and other layers to make sure that we're actually reaching this. Now, if over 50% of the population in your zip codes it qualifies for programming, then we'll be able to do a blanket geographical post. But which I think like Talahina, you that works for you guys, but like for I think like Broken Arrow, we'll have to get a bit more specific. So just wanted to let you guys know that we'll be probably having to cater things a little bit more, even further than we have in the past. Okay. And then another important thing that Oni does is that we collect sales data directly from USDA FNS reports. So we have a data sharing agreement with Department of Human Services to receive the sales data from your market on a weekly basis. And with that, we use that to try to help us see, is the market, is it going well? Is it not? Maybe, honestly, you can usually look at it and tell you what days rained or what days had bad weather because the market sales go down that week or if there's something going on. And so we do look at sales data, and I think it's important as you're documenting through Duo and on your own, also look on it. It can help you identify, does this programming help? What do we need to do? Like where are we at? And make adjustments accordingly. So here's a little example. And at the end of the year, we do provide an annual report, which should have already been sent to all of you guys from our team. If it hasn't, you need to let me know. But we'll be sending you'll see how much transactions, how many dollars, how many transactions, and what time frame that is. And so it'll give you an idea of how many sales were at your market. And this kind of helps us track it. We track it by one reason why we like doing it, we have all the markets, so we can almost see the trend. Is one market just having a reduction, or are all the markets having a reduction? That helps us kind of gauge if it was a weather issue or if it was just versus maybe that market has a concern that we need to maybe go and address. And exciting, in 2020, in fiscal year 2024, we had over $300,000 in just SNAP, with much of those being Duo matched dollars. So think about that. That's almost and then you have your senior on top of that. So it's quite a bit of dollars that are coming into the market through these programs. Okay. Now, this is important because as you're going to work with us, we want to be we're the point people for the farmers market, but we also want to make sure that you know what the difference between Hunger Free Oklahoma and the ONI project and what we can do to better help you. So if you have questions about monthly reports or invoices, getting paid, that is a Hunger Free. If you need more Duo tokens, that's Hunger Free. They're the treasury. If there's a change in market management, that's actually both of us. We both need to know if there's any management changes. And if there's any market, vendor, or customer related issues with the Duo program, you need to also let well, honestly, both of us as well. But and if you let Oni know, we will definitely inform Hunger Free that we have weekly meetings with Hunger Free where we give them an update of what's going on with all the markets. So Oni, we help you with all of your marketing, making sure that we have your pictures, making sure that we have, if you need more signage, you let us know. If you have a question with your EBT machine, you let us know. If when we coordinate your site visit, we'll work with you on that. And then also any questions about Senior Farmers Market or other assistance programs, you can let us know and we'll connect you with the necessary individuals. So Hunger Free really is focused on just Double Up, and they are more of the big administrative part, the financial side of things, the agreement side of things, and we're more of the in the like site visits, working directly with each market, and making sure that your market is being promoted in the way it needs to. And so keep talking about these site visits. I just want to go over a little bit what that means. Oni does site visits at least once, sometimes twice, based off of the market. Being newer markets, you might get more a second site visit just because you're new and we want to make sure it's going smoothly for you. We will, well, not usually, we will call and email you ahead of time so you know that we'll be coming. We would like to work with you on selecting the site visit day. Since we use the days to take a lot of pictures of the market, it's always nice if we do it on a day that you have like maybe a special event, or that peaches are going to be there, or there's going to be something cool happening. We try to coordinate with you on the date so that when we're there, we can take pictures of a fun situation. You will also be sent a pre-site form to complete. This is where you'll request materials or resources, or you'll ask questions like, what about this? What about that? And then we can go and talk to Hunger Free or whoever is necessary and bring back those resources or information to you at our site visit. And we also want to work with you. If your site visit, I know many of the markets, open at 8 or different things. We are going to usually, we can meet with you outside of the market time, like have like a call or even meet in person, maybe on the Friday before or different things to make sure that you're not feeling stressed out with us being there and answering all your questions on the day of. So we'll want to work with you however it needs to be. If it's but we want to make sure, but we will need to be there in action to watch some transactions and see what's going on. Because our goal is to make sure that all the programs, SNAP, Senior, Duo, are all being implemented correctly. And that if there is an issue that we are able to address it. And so we'll be doing a site assessment of all the different programs. We'll answer your questions from your vendors or you. I know I've been asked when doing a site visit, this vendor doesn't really understand this program, or they keep asking me the same question over and again. As somebody who's not me, can you go and tell them what's going on? And then I will go talk to the vendor, explain, how the programs work, and usually hopefully resolve the issues. We also will complete a special Duo market assessment. Just this will be used in reporting. And then if possible, this is the gold standard. It'd be really cool to talk to some SNAP recipients while we're there and hear their testimonial of what makes Double Up so beneficial for them. Because right now, I think it's extremely valuable to have those real stories as USDA and the federal government are looking at cutting things, and we want to make sure people know that state of Oklahoma, Double Up Oklahoma is extremely valuable and needed in our state. Okay, site visits. This is related just to Duo markets. Our goal is to try to make sure it's implemented correctly. We will be going over. We'll watch you with a customer transaction. And we'll review your customer transaction records. So we'll look at your paperwork, making sure that you're actually writing people's information down and checking it. We'll also listen to a customer interaction, making sure that, you're telling them that they can return unused tokens, that explaining the Duo program and what can be purchased with the Duo, or providing them the necessary resources to help explain that. We make sure that you're using the right, proper storage or safety with the tokens. And then you're also using Duo signage at your market and with the vendors. And then we have, whenever we do these assessments, we do have the list of questions. You'll either pass, fail, or not applicable. And not applicable means that maybe you didn't have a transaction that day, which rarely happens, but if it happens, that's what's available. Just to let you guys know, in past, last year we had 23 Duo markets. On average, we had excellent rates of pass with not vendors handling the tokens was 96%. And then Duo signage was 86%. Token reminders were the most, or Duo signage at the vendor sites and token reminders were some of the most frequently failed components. So getting your vendors to hang up signs is hard. But as you saw, we created the tri-branded program. And so hopefully with this tri-branded sign, that will help improve compliance. It also doesn't require any tape. It just requires maybe a rock. So you put it on there, you put the rock on top, and you're good to go.
What's the token reminders?
The token reminders is what to remind them what they can purchase with their Duo.
Oh, and there's a sheet for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then, oh yes. And then every once in a while, and it's okay if this happens. I just want to let you know, you will not be the first if this happens, but we do take corrective action if necessary. So if we do find that you're failing on all the areas, or we saw that, tokens were maybe mishandled, or the record keeping wasn't done correctly, we will have to have a follow-up meeting with you. Go over, we've had it where we've just had meetings with management, or if necessary, a full market, maybe the vendors aren't complying with the rules, then we will also go in and have a full market meeting with you and your market vendors to make sure everybody understands what's going on. And then honestly, unfortunately, if the actions are continuing to be repeated, we'll have to make decisions on administratively if this program fits. But we've not had to do that yet. We mainly just want to, usually after a corrective action is assigned, we usually have resolution. So we really want to make sure that what we're doing is working for your market. There's lots of different ways and we want to also give you guys some autonomy in what we're doing and how we're promoting your market. So would love to hear more about some of your marketing practices, ideas that you were hoping to see this next year, and because we want to, hear from you guys as we're continuing to develop out plans and look for the future on what works. What have you feel like has worked to help improve Snap and Double Up at your market?
Well, one of the things Laura and I are trying to implement this season is partnering with CATS and getting transportation for people who have no way of getting to the market. We're just waiting for funding.
I love it. That is so important. So important. Okay.
The other thing we're trying to do is offering more like kids activities so that families feel more comfortable coming and like dropping their kids off with something to do while they can shop and focus on that and making it more like family friendly and like so people stay longer.
Story times are always a win. It's super cheap. You just grab a book and read it. And painting rocks. I think I did that with the girls at their market. And so yeah, there's painting with vegetables. I think kids' activities do bring in, we know that 70% of SNAP recipients have families, right? So kids are in the home of our SNAP family, so having a kid-friendly atmosphere is very important. We also have scavenger hunt sheets available if you need any of those. Let us
Please.
know. Yeah, I think we have three versions of based off of seasonality, like early season, mid season, and then late season. So we
Yes,
worked
please.
we worked with T-Set on that. Yeah, send us a request for that, and we can get you some of those.
Who do I send that to?
Um,
Ian?
yeah, I'll send it to. Why don't you send it to Sierra?
Okay. Is it possible
Also making a note.
because Duo is so not a widely known program. Is it possible to have, because I'm sure there's like a list, like a mailing list for SNAP recipients
Hmm.
to send them flyers saying like this program's not available in your area?
Yes, we do have access to the addresses of SNAP recipients. There are some laws that we have to like comply with. One of the biggest ones that makes it a little hard is you c- the anything that goes out that's like so obviously the cheapest way to do that is like a postcard, right? But to do a postcard, it has to be discreet enough to where if someone looked at it, you're not saying you receive benefits.
Right.
So it's like, have you heard that there's that Tallahassee Farmers Market now accepts SNAP and Double Up Oklahoma, or whatever. And so it's all very much it's like it can't be directive. Um, but we do have the ability to do that. Honestly, the biggest issue is funding on those postcards because it does take a lot of logistics to do, but because the addresses are usually not clean and we have to figure out like what they're supposed to be. But we have a data sharing agreement where we have the capacity to do it. It's more of just the funding to get it done.
I think one of those, I seen in earlier, there was different things that you guys provide, like the banners, like to hang by the road. I think it was called a feather banner,
Hmm.
of some sort. Yeah, that's what it was called, a feather banner, maybe to have by the road, just, and of course there are Facebook promotions or whatever, just to educate people on what Duo actually is. But the people that are on Snap, possibly they should get that information from their providers, correct? That they're receiving.
We try. One of the issues is that so much of it has been digitized and so the cards are printed in Houston and mailed. So one of our issues is we've been trying so hard to get inserts with their card, right? Wouldn't it be cool if there was a little flyer inside their SNAP card when they got it saying, "Did you know that your farmer's market accepts SNAP and Double Up?" But one of our biggest issues is that the the um it's all printed and mailed from Houston, not
Okay.
not from Oklahoma, and it's not regional. Like they, if we did have an insert, it would have to be the same insert for the whole entire state. And one of the challenges, like Western Oklahoma, does not have any local food access points as or like very, very few. Versus like, eastern side of the state has a lot more options. So, but we'd have to be able to create something blanket that would and someone in Elk City and in Hugo could also benefit from. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But we're trying. But I mean that is we want to and again, if we find the ability to pay for something like that, we will. We just have to find the funding.
I'll also add that last year, Double Up had a capacity building opportunity, and it was the first year we did it. We learned a lot, and so we're trying to rework it this year to make it a little bit of a smoother and more streamlined process. But we gave markets that applied and were selected additional funding to promote the market or to um, get some technology if they wanted to make reporting easier. Um, to do. And so some of the markets used that funding on like radio ads or Facebook and digital ads outside of the ones that ONI provides. And so we're like I said, we're still working through that process, and I think we plan to do it again this year. And so whenever that becomes available, we'll notify all the markets that that has opened up. And also, I wanted to share this real quick with you, Melissa, and Laura, that hold on. These are some of the marketing materials that we can provide to your market too. This is like an A-frame sign that is a poster that promotes Duo. These are some of the token guides or the pull-off pages that you can give to the customers that explains the process. And then down here shows the eligible food items, and they're bilingual. And then this has grocery stores on it, so it may not be relevant, but it also has farmers markets. And there's bookmarks for kids and customizable posters where you can put in your market name, or if the vendors display this sign at their booth, they can put their vendor name underneath here. So these are items that we also can provide to you all.
Something that we can post like at the local library.
Yes,
the local
these
store.
posters.
Yeah, these posters, right? This one is a great one to post.
Well, the one above it's, I like it because you can actually write in on the white part your
Yeah.
market's information.
Nice. Okay.
And how do we order these?
I can, when I send you this email with all the everything, I'll include this, and you just let me know what you need and how many of them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I think that was it for us. Did that meet your Melissa? Did that meet your marketing idea? Or you were like, I want more?
Yeah, I want more, but it requires funding.
Me
There
too.
was
I want
something
more
else.
too.
I had another question and I just lost it. I'll keep thinking. What were we talking about before?
Thing I had on here that we were sharing the banners, and she said she was going to end up sending you the, what did you just share, Kat? The posters, things that we could fill out to promote the market, or
yes,
accept at the market.
Oh.
And you're welcome to, we can help you with like a press release or anything to tell people that your market is now accepting, if for a local radio or TV or newspapers, there's opportunities there too to be like, hey, the Tallahassee Farmers Market is now accepting this program.
Yeah, we're working with Oklahoma OSU High OBC program.
Okay.
She has a rep in the area now, and she's helping us with some radio advertisements and newspaper, because we could probably get those for free. As like a public service announcement type deal. But she said something, and I wanted to get clarification on this. She briefly mentioned that she thought that there was some sort of like you have to get approval from Duo before you can market it.
So if you're going to use the Duo logo solely, we do need to have approval before it's just posted anywhere. But it's not like it's a hard process. It's really like having Oni and Hunger Free look at it, make sure that it's in the compliance, with some of the necessary design standards that they have.
The logo or the verbiage around the ad?
The logo itself. The word saying our market accepts Double Up Oklahoma will give you all the taglines and tell you these are the things you need to say. But I mean, you say it because it's the same thing. It's like you spend $1, you get $1. You can say that if you want. I mean, that's just like how you say it. Whatever. but with actual logo usage, yes, you had to get that pre-approved. But you don't have to if you get an opportunity, like just some random like news person's on the side of the street, and he's like, I want to talk to you, Melissa, about this market. You feel free to
Okay.
tell them about Double Up. We want everybody to know.
So like
Yeah.
I'm working on flyer designs for posting all around town for this season. So having the Duo logo on there, I need to get approval before I can use them.
Yeah. But it's not too hard. We will do it within a week.
Yeah, you can send me